Too much iron in your blood. Mr. Lorio, never trust a beautiful woman, especially one who's interested in you.
Sir Ian McKellen and Michael Fassbender aren't just great actors, they've also got magnetic personalities.
Instead, I give you a glimpse of the devastation my race can unleash upon yours.
These two icons have given us some memorable moments spread across the X-Men cinematic universe, even though that franchise is probably as well planned as a FIFA World Cup in a non-booze country like Qatar. Now, Magneto might have a tragic backstory, but the man's also been known to be sassy and savage, especially if you look at McKellen's portrayal of the Metal Daddy.
I didn't come here to fight you.
Smart boy.
Also, I've been noticing how you love flex movies, so I'm in sequel mode right now with my top 10 Magneto Flexes Volume 2. Taking on a bunch of soldiers is no easy feat, but you can leave it to Sassman Magneto to wreak havoc even if you don't see him on screen. It's a typical scenario where the soldiers try to face off against our favourite villain, so you'd imagine that they'd be stacked up with a bunch of explosives. Of course, these dudes didn't really do their homework, because their grenade pins are made of metal. All it takes is a couple of seconds for ERIK to do his thing and then kaboom! Like, literally. The beauty of this scene is that you don't really see Magneto till the very end, where he just drops all the pins he collected. I guess this is what they mean when they say they've got a bombastic villain, eh? Personally, I would have loved to see ERIK walk away from the explosion, kinda like how Wolverine did in X-Men Origins. That's just me being greedy, isn't it? Kinda like how Pete Davidson is with successful women.
I've always thought of God as a teacher. You see, I think what you really are afraid of is me. Well, don't fear God, Senator, and certainly don't fear me.
Magneto's a man of many talents, but did you know that he's a pretty good dentist too? I've got proof, you know. It's from X-Men First Class, when ERIK begins searching for his arch-nemesis Sebastian Shaw. No, it's not because he wants to know if Kevin Bacon is doing a Footloose reboot. A bald general is on the receiving end of the mutant's fury, as we can see Magneto painfully extracting the dude's metal filling in an anxiety-inducing sequence. I swear, I could almost feel my own teeth twitch when I first saw this scene. However, this isn't even the real flex here. It's when Magneto channels his inner Liam Neeson and calmly tells the general that he better not alert any of the authorities, otherwise you will find him and you will kill him. You gotta really give it to Michael Fassbender for being so versatile. He can go from emotional train wreck to stone cold android in the blink of an eye. All you gotta do is give him a role in a popular franchise reboot.
From what I know about you, I'm surprised you've managed to stay this long.
What do you know about me?
Everything.
Then you'll know to stay out of my head.
I stuck with you all the way. Would have killed the professor if he'd given me the chance.
Charles Xavier did more for mutants than you'll ever know. The single greatest regret is that he had to die for our dream to live.
Say what you will about Magneto's motivations, the dude respected his buddy Charles. We haven't really seen Sir Ian McKellen's version heap much praise upon his psychic counterpart, but there's this one scene in X-Men The Last Stand where he ironically takes a stand for Professor X. Basically, Pyro's trying to impress his British sensei by saying he can kill the professor by himself, but then Magneto puts him in his place by saying,
Charles Xavier did more for mutants than you'll ever know.
Not only is this a metaphorical slap on Pyro's face, it also reveals that Magneto is still hurting from losing his frenemy to a crazy redhead that isn't Bella Thorne. You can almost hear the pain in ERIK's voice when he says,
The single greatest regret is that he had to die for our dream to live.
Damn, bro, that's some Shakespeare-level philosophy right there. Now that's what I call bros before goals.
You know this plastic prison of theirs won't hold me forever. The war is still coming, Charles, and I intend to fight it by any means necessary.
If you're using half your concentration to look normal, then you're only half paying attention to whatever else you're doing. You want society to accept you, but you can't even accept yourself.
If you were to ask me if I would date someone like Mystique, the answer would be a resounding yes. Not only is she a badass fighter, she can literally change her appearance to anyone in the world. That's like a dream come true for almost every man on the planet. But Magneto is a class apart, so he decides to give Jennifer Lawrence a beginner's class in Love Yourself, just like he did with Dwayne Johnson. Basically, our man tells Mystique that if she's using half her concentration to look like a babe, then she can only use the other half for other stuff. It's a pretty valid point, and ERIK proves it instantly when he drops the barbell on Mystique MYSTIQUE, forcing her to transform and use her true powers to save herself. The sass man ain't done yet though, because he tells her,
You want society to accept you, but you can't even accept yourself.
yep, that's perfection. At this point, I think the dude should just write a self-help book and be done with it.
We were thinking more. We'll show you ours if you show us yours. It's good, isn't it? What?
How did you do that?
You've never looked more beautiful, darling.
You Homo sapiens and your guns.
If you imagine the first encounter between Magneto and Professor X, it will probably be more of a mind game than anything else. That's exactly what happens in the OG X-Men film, when Magneto toys around with the cops by mocking the Homo sapiens and their guns. Charles gets to work and uses his shiny head to possess Sabretooth and Toad, but Eric warns his old buddy by saying,
Let them pass that law and they'll have you in chains with a number burned into your forehead.
As expected, the rivals have a little back and forth, and then Magneto literally pulls out the big guns and begins flexing his bullet-stopping powers. You could say that this was the inspiration for Michael Fassbender's missile scene in X-Men First Class. Anyway, Magneto channels his inner Clint Eastwood to ask Charles if he's feeling lucky, but the Professor's already lost his legs and his hair, so he backs off while he still can. Obviously, Eric's gonna soak in the glory of his victory, so he claims dominance by taunting Charles' sacrifice phobia.
Still unwilling to make sacrifices. That's what makes you weak.
Yeah, that's a true Chad.
You can go ahead, sir.
I'll wait.
If you don't want to be owned by any of the Magneto sassmen, then you better like, share, and subscribe ASAP. Alright then, let's see what else Eric has up his sleeve.
What an adorable lab rat you make, Charles. Don't spoil this for me, Eric. No. I've been a lab rat. I know when I see one.
We usually see Sir Ian's Magneto spilling the sass when it comes to making fun of Professor X. There's a pretty savage line I found from X-Men First Class when a young Charles Xavier is trying on the Cerebro. Eric is feeling a little bit creative, so he mocks his buddy by saying,
What an adorable lab rat you make, Charles.
To be fair, the dude isn't too far off the mark, because the Professor does look like he's volunteering for a shady medical trial. Plus, we've also got to consider that Magneto does have a lot of experience in that lab rat department. Alright, I mean, that is a little tragic, but at least the dude can laugh at his own trauma, right? Maybe Bruce Banner can help him out with therapy just like he did with Iron Man.
Charles always wanted to build bridges.
What's better than a power demonstration? Backing it up with a savage flex, that's what. Magneto's Brotherhood needs to make a move, but there's too much traffic in their way, so Granddaddy Eric decides it's time to show off his powers. But even though the mutant lifts an entire bridge and carries it forward, this isn't the flex in question. My focus is when Magneto remembers Professor X and says,
Charles always wanted to build bridges.
It's this exact moment when he drops the bridge, and I've got to say, I can't help but wonder if this was one of the earliest versions of a mic drop. If it was, then god damn bro, you gotta leave some swag for the others too. Unfortunately, even something as iconic as this scene wasn't enough to save what was easily the worst film out of the initial X-Men trilogy. Damn, I guess I'm somewhat of a savage myself, eh?
You're so proud of being a mutant. Where's your mark?
I have been marked once, my dear, and let me assure you, no needle shall ever touch my skin again.
You know who you're talking to?
We are the future. And anyone who stands in our way will suffer the same fate as these men you see before you.
Now, politicians are well known for feeding us glamorous lies under the guise of a rally speech. It's pretty much the norm nowadays, especially when you have someone like Joe Biden running the country.
Putin's yeah.
Magneto doesn't appreciate all this cap, so he decides to give the world a taste of his own verbal skills with his chilling speech in X-Men Days of Future Past. By now, the villain has already taken care of the Sentinels and is about to put on a gruesome display, but first, he tells the humans that they're right to fear the mutants. In the most savage way possible, he says,
Today was meant to be a display of your power. Instead, I give you a glimpse of the devastation my race can unleash upon yours.
I can probably go on and highlight every single thing he does go on to say, say, but that would probably make me the X-Men equivalent of a Donald Trump supporter. I mean, that final line was pretty savage though, right?
The future of our species begins now.
Heck yeah, Magneto for president. Actually, I think I'm sensing some similarities to a certain historical figure here.
Emma. Banshee.
Mutant brothers and sisters, all dead!
You abandoned us all.
They wish to cure us, but I say to you, we are the cure! Nothing can stop us!
Damn, it looks like mutants really do get better with age. This time, we're looking at the OG Magneto, who spurred on the Brotherhood with a motivational speech. He kicks off things with a pretty basic line, but pulls it off so well that you could say he was channeling his inner Walter White.
I am the one who knocks.
And it doesn't stop there. Magneto goes on to pump everyone in the crowd and gets the kind of response that Taylor Swift was probably hoping for with those $95,000 tickets. I was going to end the entry right there, but then I remembered that the freaking Wolverine gets violated by ERIK with 2 simple words.
I didn't come here to fight you.
Smart boy.
Why do you even try, Logan? Just take the L and move on.
How are we feeling, Senator? Too much iron in your blood. Mr. L'Oreal, never trust a beautiful woman, especially one who's interested in you.
I'm pretty sure that at least one of you saw this coming. This seed is good enough to claim top honors all by itself, but I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out femme fatale Mystique's sneaky seduction strategy on her daddy's guard. Magneto's always been a man with a plan, so you could imagine the joy he must have felt when he sensed all that excess iron in the guard's body. Our favourite villain decides to crack a dad joke before torturing the schmuck, and it's actually a pretty terrifying method. It's not all bad though, because Magneto also offers some dating advice to his buddy.
Mr. L'Oreal, never trust a beautiful woman, especially one who's interested in you.
You can say that again, bro. Tinder dates are pretty much like war zones nowadays. But yeah, it was pretty cool to see ERIK having a sense of humor while mercilessly killing the guard. And of course, you know the epic escape that follows right after. So what did you think of my list? Come at me in the comments if you want to discuss some other entries, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to show your support. You can also check the description for links to my socials. Alright then, I'll see you next time on the TV Regent.